Germany. The rise of an empire. At the dawn of the 19th century, the vast Germanic region of Europe was dominated by two major states, Prussia and Austria, two fierce rivals with two completely different ideas of what were to become of the Germanic world. Of all the German states, Prussia was the only one able to match Austria in size, population, and wealth. By the mid-1800s, a clear conflict of interest between the two was emerging. The Prussian nationalists were willing to unify the German world by all means. During their first attempt of a minor unification, the Austrians threatened the Prussians with war, and so the attempt to unify several German states failed. The reason to Austria's opposition was the people of the Austrian Empire. In their empire, the Austrians, despite being the ones in power, were a minority. A unification of German states would lead to the Austrian Empire having to give up a significant portion of its land, so losing power. Through this unwillingness to sacrifice its power, Austria and Prussia became fierce rivals.
If Austria wasn't for Prussian aims, it was against Prussia.
However, Prussian nationalists would not be at peace until a unified Germany would emerge. In 1862, Otto von Bismarck was elected Prime Minister of Prussia. Bismarck was born into a Junker family, the upper noble class, and rooted for the preservation of the monarchy. While Austria was weakening, losing allies as a result of denying help and then losing a war in territories to the French and Italian states, Prussia was growing in strength. While the influence of the Austrian Empire was diminishing in the German states, Bismarck took the liberty of preparing a plot to stab Austria in the back. If Austria had once threatened to attack Prussia, Bismarck would not take another chance of such a thing happening. With growing support from King Wilhelm I, Bismarck didn't hesitate to take action. Bismarck's initial plan entailed two major parts. Primarily, the unification of the North German state under Russia, and secondly, crushing Austrian influence in the German states by A. removing it from the Bund, and B. making Berlin the empire's center instead of Vienna. Despite Bismarck's determination, and knowing of where he wanted to go with his plans, he was doing it all on the cost of the Prussian Empire, allowing for a threat of invasion as well as fulfilling his policies against the will of the Reichstag. The sole reason to Bismarck's actions was the response he received from the elective body. He was a prime minister left unsupported by his own government. He was soon renowned as the Iron Chancellor.
It's truly marvelous considering what Bismarck achieved with what he was given. He was in fact taken for a madman when he first assumed the post of Prime Minister. His deputies were simply outraged.
Bismarck's one shot at success was on the bill of Wilhelm I. Bismarck was going to turn iron into gold. When Austria attempted to strengthen its position in the Bund, Bismarck countered them by calling for popular elections. He so not only eradicated Austria's plans, but didn't fall victim to having to fulfill his own proposition.
He was a man with a great mind. He was the puppet master of events in the 1860s.
Despite Bismarck's aggressiveness, he was seen as the liberator of the liberal nationalists, defending them from Austrian oppression. To further weaken Austria, Bismarck cleverly sucked up to its former ally, Russia, by refusing the Polish plea to rebel against Russian control. Not only did Bismarck unify with the Austrians' former allies, he also made alliances with Austria's enemies, France and Italy, surrounding Austria. In 1863, the King of Denmark claimed two territories, Schleswig and Holstein, as part of itself, since they had already been under Danish rule. Austria and Germany formed an alliance in 1864 just to win this war quite quickly. A strong sense of pride and identity of the German people was emerging, leaving them eager for more such victories. After the conflict, Bismarck created a treaty to agitate Austria and undermine its power in the north. Holstein would become Prussian, while Schleswig would become Austrian, and they would have to trespass Prussian land to reach it. Austria called out to the Bund to discredit Prussia.
And now you want to attack Austria! without warning. Denmark is one thing, but to provoke the Habsburgs, I cannot possibly agree. No, no, no. Nor will Parliament. I have no intention of asking Parliament.
Bismarck declared the Bund dysfunctionate and declared war on Austria, invading Hanover, Hesse, and Saxony. This led to the 7 Weeks' War, leaving Austria quickly defeated with pressure on the south by Italy. In 1867, Bismarck became the Chancellor of the North German Confederation, which lasted from 1867 to 1871. Bismarck had succeeded in undermining Austrian power in German states, successfully discrediting it, and so gaining significant power over the German states. With Austria out of the way, Bismarck wanted to lawfully dominate over German states, and a dietary parliament was created for the North German Confederation. The Iron Chancellor would not stop until Prussia would rule over a unified German people. Bismarck finally turned to the last obstacle in the way of a complete German unification: France. Bismarck made sure that neither Russia nor Italy would intervene in this inevitably coming war. He once again applied his wittiness and diplomatic skills to do so. However, Bismarck needed a reason to attack France. Coincidentally, the Spanish crown was open and was offered to a relative of the German king, Wilhelm I. France was requesting Prussia to reject the offer, yet Wilhelm rejected to do so. Bismarck cleverly sent an excerpt of a telegram response of Wilhelm I to the French embassy, making it appear as though the Prussian king were insulting the French ambassador. So broke out war. The Franco-Prussian War wasn't long-lasting, as the recently increased and still growing Prussian army quite quickly defeated France, claiming Alsace-Lorraine as another addition to the now finally unified German Empire. In 1871, immediately preceding the war, Bismarck became the German Empire's first Chancellor, dominating German policy-making. Bismarck had created a closely tied, militarily, industrially, and economically powerful confederation, all thanks to the coming together of the German world, which naturally was all to the merit of Bismarck himself.
To sum up then, Bismarck was a great politician. His success cannot even be questioned. The same way, some might think the complete opposite, considering the idea that Bismarck simply stumbled upon the opportunity of doing something great. After all, had Bismarck not unified Germany, he wouldn't have achieved everything else that he did.